What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside View podcast, and we are back today, and we've reacted to Week 17 of the NFL season. We got a lot to discuss. 1 week before the regular season is over. We still got the Rams versus the Falcons game, but we pretty much know what's going to transpire in that game. I mean, the Rams got that pretty much on lock. Uh, Knock on
Uh,
wood, no
quick,
injuries
quick,
happening.
uh, quick, tidbit on that. Do you happen to know what Matt Stafford's record is on Monday Night Football?
That's a great question. I do
It's
not.
like 6-10.
Oh, okay. Well, it's going to be 7-10 this week
Hey man,
because they're
Kirk
not losing
Cousins.
to the
Hey,
Falcons.
Kirk get busy on Monday Night Football
They're
these
they're
days.
not they're not they're not losing to the Falcons. I can guarantee you that right now. But anywho, um, before we get to the games, though, I was talking to Brian off stream about just the playoffs and specifically the AFC because after this week, it's come to just it's just come to my mind that I'm thinking about the history of the NFL. I'm thinking about years where the best quarterbacks didn't have the best talent around them and how they weren't able to win or go to the Super Bowl despite it feeling like they have a good enough chance because the other teams don't have the greatest quarterback play in the world. I think in this scenario, we have to understand that okay, Patrick Mahomes, he's out of the picture. Lamar Jackson, he's probably out of the picture. I think we have to stop overcomplicating things and just really assess what team has the trenches on lock. Which I mean by that is what team has good offensive line play, good defensive line play, good defense, relatively decent offense. What team is that? Those are the teams that generally make the Super Bowl, regardless of how mediocre their quarterback is. We've seen Jimmy Garoppolo make the Super Bowl. We've seen plenty of mediocre quarterbacks make the Super Bowl. We've seen Jalen Hurts, who is okay, but very limited as a passer, as we all know, make the Super Bowl not once, but twice because the talent around him was so great that it elevated him. The same could be said about some of these quarterbacks in the AFC. And there's one team that probably won't surprise you, but some people have some trepidations, are very skeptical about this team,
I
mainly
already know where this
because
going.
of this quarterback. But I'm going to say it right now, and I don't think this should be a surprise to anybody. They're the number one seed right now, and potentially are going to have are going to have a bye. It's the Denver Broncos. Now, the Denver Broncos, are they a perfect team? Absolutely not. The quarterback is not perfect at all. But what I can say about the Denver Broncos is this: they have things that you would want for a Super Bowl caliber team, and that is a really good offensive line and a really good defense. That's what they have. And I believe, regardless of how mediocre Bo Nix has been in the past, I think this team is so talented enough. And I think having a really good play caller, offensive play caller, is also very important because they can help hide some of the deficiencies, some of the flaws of their quarterback. I look at this Denver Broncos team in the AFC this season, Brian, this season, not past seasons, this season, which is very, a weird year, a very weird year. This season alone, I believe a team like the Denver Broncos could actually make the Super Bowl because look at the landscape of the AFC. The Bills just lost to the Eagles, and we're going to get to that later. Looking pathetic, very pathetic. And they have Josh Allen as a QB, who, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the NFL. Then you have the Steelers, who very limited on offense. Offensive line isn't all that great. The defense is very old. We don't believe the Steelers have a shot. The Texans, while they have improved significantly, they've gone on a win streak. The offensive line has improved so far. The running game with Woody Marks has been pretty good. CJ Stroud has been managing the game well, although I was checking the film this week and he didn't play all that well. He had those two interceptions was terrible, despite the fact the offensive line was protecting them pretty well. And obviously their defense is outstanding. And then you have other teams, the Jaguars, who have been amazing this year. Liam Cohen has done wonders for them. But do they have enough talent overall in the playoffs to compete with the Denver Broncos? I don't think so. And then we have the Chargers, who nobody thinks the Chargers are a real threat in the AFC. They don't have enough talent. They're always injured. Key guys from key positions are out for the year. And then we have what's another team? I think that's really the only teams I can think of that are really in the playoff picture as of this moment.
The
But yeah,
Chargers.
yeah, I mentioned the Chargers. But yeah, those are the teams that are in the AFC. I just think in this season alone, this playoffs, the AFC playoffs, this is Denver's for the taking because of the landscape of the AFC. If this was 2 years ago, if this was 3 years ago, different story. But this season, I think Denver, let's not overcomplicate this. I think Denver has it. I think they're going to win the AFC.
That would be horrible for the sport of football if that were to happen. We do not want to see Bo Nix in the Super Bowl. Um, Frankly, Bo Nix FC has been one of increasingly becoming one of my least favorite groups of people on the internet as far as sports fandom goes, because they just refuse to look at what's in front of their eyes. Like Bo Nix, he's all right, but like imagine just saying, say this out loud. Bo Nix Super Bowl champion. Like that don't even sound right, man. I'm sorry. Like now your point makes sense. They are the best offensively and defensively in the trenches as far as those marrying those two together. But I want to see how Bo Nix performs when he has to go against a team like the Texans. I need to see that because if he's going to go out there and try to dink and dunk on the Texans, they're going to get you up off the field. And I know they have an elite defense on the other side of the ball, but it's not like they haven't got ran out on. Let me tell you something. The Texans, they never get 30 something put up on them like the Jags put up on the Broncos literally last week. And the Jags don't have this juggernaut offense. They got a few nice pieces, but they're missing Travis Hunter. Brian Thomas Jr. has been underwhelming this year. Travis Etienne has had a resurgence, so to speak. But other than that, they don't really have like elite weapons. Yeah, Jacoby Myers was a good trade addition, and they just paid him some money. But it's not like they the Eagles as far as the offensive weapons goes. So I like the Broncos' logic here, but I still feel like that team. You can if you could catch them on a bad day, you can definitely get out on. There's been too many times they've been winning games by the skin of their teeth. As for their record, the point differential isn't that great. I don't know. I'm just not a believer. I'm not a believer. But if they don't have to match up against a team like the Texans or the Jags actually are honestly they might be a sleeper because Trevor Lawrence is playing good ball at the right time. The defense is really clicking. I think since week I can't remember which week it was, but they're only allowing touchdowns on 26% of their drives, or allowing points, excuse me, on 26% of their drives. That is very efficient defense right there. Fortunately, they lost Jordan Lewis to an injury. I'm not sure how long he'll be out for, but the Jags are playing great football at the time. Honestly, if they were to replay in the playoffs, I wouldn't rule out Jacksonville knocking them out. That's just me personally. But Broncos got that home field advantage, which is a huge factor in the playoffs. Going a mile high is not an easy task, especially in January. So I'm not going to push back too much on your point because I see where you're coming from, but they're going to have to show me. Because we've seen Sean Payton led teams do the same thing. They look like juggernauts all year. They get the wins, and they come playoff time, some foolishness happens and they end up losing the game.
Okay, I mean, you make some valid points, but look at the competition that he's going up against. I mean, do you really trust the Texans in a playoff scenario? Like, what have they done? Yeah, they won a playoff game.
They won
They
more
won.
playoff games than Bo Nix has.
That's true. That is true. But they haven't reached close to the championship game. Well, they did reach the semis, but for the most part, that's about it. They won one playoff game each of the past 2 years,
They
which is
ran into
good.
the Ravens that made the AFC Championship in 23. Then they ran into the Chiefs that made the Super Bowl last year. So it's not like they
Yeah,
got bounced by some scrubs.
yeah, no doubt. But at the same time, like it's not like they have much experience upon being in the Super Bowl or even being in the championship game. And I also am a bit worried about CJ Stroud to a certain extent, just going off of what I saw just recently. Those turnovers was egregious, even with good pass protection. Yeah, guys, they may have not been open during some of those plays, but at the same time, like you got to understand that you cannot take that risk in that situation, especially when you still have good pass protection. Just throw the ball away. And that's my thing with CJ Stroud is that CJ Stroud, he'll have some good plays, he'll make some really nice throws, and then there'll be other times where he puts the ball in harm's way, and that's just not good enough in my opinion. And I think the offensive line has improved a lot since the first 5 weeks of the season, but I don't think their offensive line is better than the Broncos. So I'm going to go with the Broncos in that scenario. I think the trenches, the Broncos are in terms of offensive end are better. And I think defensively, they're pretty damn good. Overall, I just like them a little bit better. I think Bo Nix and CJ Stroud, if you wanted to have a debate who's better, I'm not really going to argue about that. But I think they're not too far off. I don't think it's a significant gap that CJ Stroud is so much better than Bo Nix. I don't think
He
it's a
is.
significant. You think he's that much better than Bo Nix?
I can pull up the EPA numbers right now.
You think okay? So you think Bo Nix is like one of the 10 worst QBs in the NFL.
I wouldn't say 10 worst.
So where is Bo Nix on your QB rankings then? Like 15?
Yeah, 15,
That's
16.
not bad.
I
That's
mean,
a good enough
that's not
quarterback.
bad, but like
That's a good enough
I'll say
quarterback
this.
to.
He's worse than Brock Purdy.
I mean, Brock
And y'all
Purdy is not bad QB.
I know, but like y'all know I'm a Brock Purdy hater.
Brock
But he
Purdy
that's
made the
my
Super
dog. That's
Bowl.
my dog this week.
Brock
Uh
Purdy made the Super Bowl. Like that's it's nothing wrong
okay,
with
let me
being
put it like this.
worse
Out
than
of all
Brock
the
Purdy.
QBs that's currently in the playoff picture right now in the AFC, Bo Nix isn't better than either one of them. Any of them QBs.
Okay, let's talk about so you have you CJ Stroud you mentioned, you have Aaron Rodgers, you have Justin Herbert, you have Josh Allen,
Drake
um,
May and
Drake
Trevor Lawrence.
May, Trevor Lawrence. But like I mentioned before, this year is a lot different than the past years where QB play is very important in these. I don't think QB play is going to make a huge difference like it did in previous seasons when you have Mahomes or when you have like a Josh Allen who was putting on a Superman cape in some rounds. I think this year is more so going to be collective effort from the entirety of the team rather than just, oh, the quarterback just is so much better and he's elevating the team. I don't think that's the case this year. I think this year is going to be one of those times where it's a total team effort where you might see the defense is going to ball out, the running game is going to ball out, and all Bo Nix has to do is manage the game. And when he needs to scramble for the first down, I just think that's what's going to happen. I don't think Bo Nix is going to be asked to have to elevate the team too much. I don't think Bo Nix is going to have to be asked to put up 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I don't think that's going to be the case because I just think the offensive line, the running game is going to be good enough. I think the defense is going to ball out when they need to, and I believe Sean Payton is going to scheme up something really good enough to make it easier for Bo Nix in the playoffs. I just think this is the year for the Broncos to do it. I look at the Texans, and as much as they improved the entirety of the year, the defense has been really good. I'm still a bit concerned. I'm still a bit concerned entering the playoffs. Will the offensive line hold up enough? It has improved, but will it hold up? I don't know, especially against the Broncos, who have a pretty good pass rush. So that's just where I'm at with it. You could disagree all you want to, but we've seen years where mediocre quarterback play has gotten a team to the Super Bowl, and let's just face it, this seems like another example of that happening.
I suppose. I don't know. Last time we seen it was what, Jimmy G?
Jimmy G, even to a certain extent, Jalen Hurts. He wasn't great last year. He wasn't that great. The
But like,
offense was a lot predicated on Saquon Barkley's running ability.
yeah, but Saquon, he was kind of quiet in January outside of that Rams game.
But when you look at the games in the playoffs, it's like the Packers against the Packers, like Jalen Hurts wasn't all that great against the Packers. Like he was okay. He managed the game, but he wasn't like throwing 3 touchdowns, 300 yards.
A lot of QBs aren't doing that in the playoffs, and
I,
if
I'm
they
just
are, they
saying.
probably losing because they playing from behind. But
I'm just
like,
saying, like he was managing the game. It was more game management than it was gunslinger.
okay, so you're saying that Bo Nix pretty much he's doing good enough to where you can go to a Super Bowl with the way he's playing right now.
This year, I think he's good enough to where they can go to the Super Bowl in the
Okay.
AFC. I think the way that the AFC is looking with the talent and with the quarterback play, I think he's good enough to get this team to a Super Bowl. He doesn't have to be um, playing at a top 10 QB level to get this team to a Super Bowl. All he has to do is manage the game, not turn the football over, scramble when he needs to, and just hopefully the offensive line can hold up and they can get some sort of run game going with RJ Harvey in the backfield. And that's it. Because I think the defense is going to hold up pretty well. They're going to get enough stops and they're going to get enough good field position to where Sean Payton's going to scheme something up really well. They got Cortland Sutton, who's a really good receiver. He just made the Pro Bowl recently. They have enough talent to where Bo Nix can not elevate this team, but manage the game to a point where he doesn't lose them the game.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to see it. They better hope they get that one seed.
All right, man. Well,
But
all
I
right.
will
That's
say,
yeah. You
if
feel?
not the Texans, I would probably lean the Broncos.
Mm.
I'll say that. So it's not like I don't 1000% disagree. I just I think I'm just being a hater. I don't want to see the Broncos in the Super Bowl.
Who wants to see the Broncos in the Super Bowl? I don't want to see them in the Super Bowl. I'd
A
rather see
lot
the
of
Bills in
people
the
in
Super Bowl.
Denver.
I'd rather see the Bills in the
Do you
Super
really
Bowl.
want to see? Do you really want to see the Bills though?
I do. I want to see Josh Allen in the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't I want
Uh,
to see one of the best? Why wouldn't I want to see the best QB in the NFL in the Super Bowl?
I mean, true, but the Bills, they low key. We'll get to them in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a minute. All right. So
Oh,
let's
so
get to the
what
game.
about the
Yeah.
NFC? What about the
I
NFC?
mean, NFC is a lot different. I think the NFC is a lot more loaded, and I think the QB play as well. Like Matt Stafford, top five QB NFL, MVP in my opinion, and he has a lot of talent around him. So I think the NFC, um, it's a lot more that traditional sort of way that we look at the playoffs in terms of okay, QB is amazing and has really good talent around him, like how we normally talk about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs when they were winning Super Bowls, and how we thought Lamar and the Ravens were back when they were really really good, and it looked like they were maybe going to the Super Bowl. Like that. That's how the NFC is kind of looking for me in terms of the teams. When I look at the Rams, Seattle, Sam Darnold has been really good this year. A bit turnover prone, but still has really good talent around him. 49ers, although they have been banged up, they good coaching. Brock Purdy has been still pretty decent for them. We'll get to that game. And then CMC and Kittle, still really amazing players, regardless of how old they are. Um, Eagles, they find ways to win games regardless of how ugly it is. The defense is still balling. Um, Packers are
Bears.
injury prone, not don't have no shot. But yeah, man, I mean the NFC, it's I wouldn't say there's a I wouldn't say it's like it's like a window has opened for almost every team like it has for all the teams in the AFC. Um, at least the perception of it, because I just think that it's a lot smaller than what people claim it to be. So that's where I'm at with it.
Okay, that
All
makes sense.
right. Well, let's get to the games. Let's start off with the games that are have
A
no
lot of
meaning.
smelly games this week.
Yeah, a lot of smelly games. Cowboys Commanders. Let's start
This
off
was
with
one
that
of them.
game. Um your Cowboys, how do you feel about them winning? It felt like it was getting a bit close, and then all of a sudden you guys pulled away at the end. So, what was your thoughts on this game on Christmas?
If there was a game that is any indictment on how badly Matt Eberflus should be fired, is this game. He had Josh Johnson out there looking like an NFL QB at 39 years old. You let the Washington Commanders with their third string quarterback put up 23 points on you. I don't care if they was home. They have nothing to play for. The team is injured to all whatever. Like Debo was looking crazy against you. Jacory Krosky Merritt went crazy against you. And the one thing that you had going for yourself a little bit was that you weren't the worst at stopping the run. And you went out there and did that. I, I'm done with Eberflus, and it looks like Jerry is too, because he hasn't. Usually Jerry would be like, "Hey, we're going to bring him back." He hasn't said nothing. He hasn't alluded to nothing of the sorts. He know that man gone because he hasn't defended him not once. He said he was surprised the defense was this bad in that game against Detroit. He said, "Hey, we made the trades. We thought the defense would get better. We looked just as bad as we did earlier in the season." So your Matt Eberflus got to go. Offense, Dak, this was hands down Dak's worst game of the year. Like he just looked off. He was missing throws. He was late on throws, underthrown stuff. It also didn't help the offensive line couldn't block a soul. I think he done got sacked 6 times that game. But Dak did not look good. I'm just ready for the season to be over. Probably gonna mess up the draft position even more if we beat the Giants next week. But yeah, man, that game was terrible. Only reason I was watching it was because of fantasy football.
Yep. Not much to really say on that, man. I didn't watch this game.
Good.
I was watching the NBA because that's the real sport that does Christmas. But yeah,
Speaking
I
of
was
the
yeah. What were you
NFL,
gonna say?
the Netflix, y'all got to
It's not
get the
good.
broadcasting, please. No more player interviews, and it was bad. It was bad. And I like Nate Burleson and Iron Eagle, Nate, but like it just it just didn't feel right, man. Like Iron Eagle, he's good, but Nate Burleson, it just sounded like he was just like if you took a fan from the crowd and put him in a commentator booth and tell him to do it, he would sound like Nate Burleson did that. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it.
Gotcha. I did watch the Vikings and Lions game for
I did
playoff implications for my Packers, but outside of that, I wasn't really watching much football on Christmas. Um, so that's just where I was at with it. But hey, man, it is what it is. I mean, two teams that are not in the playoffs. Cowboys, they're just a better team in that scenario. I mean, there's not really much else to say. The Commanders, it's a lost year. They need to just regroup for next year, and hopefully they get a good pick. That's all they have to pray for right now.
they if they could possibly get a top two pick, but I doubt it. They gonna like the Raiders need to win, the Giants need to win. I doubt that happens, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Let's go to the Bengals versus Cardinals. Another game that didn't mean anything unless you're playing fantasy. Joe Burrow, he was okay. He had 305 passing, 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown had a really good game with
He
101
did.
yards rushing. Yeah, I mean, There's not really much else to say. The Cardinals are garbage. Jonathan Gannon, I doubt he returns as the head coach next year. And
He
that's all I
won't.
really got to say.
Yeah, I didn't watch a single second of this game, not even on red zone. I was out ripping and running on Sunday. I had things to do, but I watched like the marquee games, like the Bills and Eagles. I watched that and some other games, but that game, who cares?
Yeah, literally. Like, that's one of those, like, okay, if you have Joe Burrow as your QB, salute. But that's all I could really say on that matter. And Jamar Chase as well, because he had
Yeah,
two
Jamar Chase went
touchdowns.
off.
Yeah, two touchdowns. But that's really it. Um, Moving on. Saints versus Titans. I did catch some of this game on Red
That was a
Zone,
good game,
mainly for fantasy
surprisingly.
purposes, but that was a really good game. I picked the Saints in this game. I just thought the way that they're playing right now, they're probably going to win this game, and they did ultimately win the game. Tyler Shuck continues to be really good, and Chris Olave having a resurgence. He's
You
been
gonna get some money this off
amazing.
season.
He definitely is. I'm glad that he's staying healthy. I'm glad that he's able to show his talent. When he was with Derek Carr, it just felt like he was being held back a little bit, and then the injuries kept piling on up with the concussions. So I'm glad he's finally healthy and able to play really good football. Um, and yeah, the Saints, they're on the way up. This is a good sign for them
You know
moving
what?
forward.
I'll say it right now. As it stands right now, the Saints are the best team in the NFC South.
Mm,
Unfortunately, they got little too late with the getting hot and playing like a good team. But the way they, if you've been watching the way the Buccaneers, especially and the Panthers, been playing recently, the Saints, yeah, and they beat them too, which is funny.
they did, yeah. And Chase Young, your boy Chase Young, 8.5
Hmm.
sacks on the season, 1.5 sack yesterday. Hey, he's
Yeah,
been pretty
he's been
good.
playing good. Yeah,
Yeah. Shout out to Chase Young, bro. It seems like all he had to do was get away from the Commanders, and now he's starting to have a bit of a resurgence. He had that rookie year, the defensive rookie of the year, and hopefully he can continue to build from that, and we can see more of Chase Young because the dude coming out of college, he was supposed to be very, very talented. Uh, and yeah, I mean that's really much else to say. Cam Ward, he was okay. He had two touchdowns, 251 yards passing. But
no,
it's the
you had
Tennessee
to see
Titans.
this. This is one of them games you had to watch because he was making some crazy throws out there.
Yep, I heard that. Yeah, I heard. Yep. Next game, we have the Patriots versus Jets. I didn't watch a single snap of this game. I didn't need to because by halftime the game was over. 42-10. Drake made 19 for 21. Five touchdown passes. Five of them.
Good
Insane.
MVP stat pattern right there. But I'm afraid it
Bro,
won't work.
I think Drake May in that game had the highest QBR ever recorded. He had a
I think so.
99.8 QBR. Insane. 157 passer rating. I'm gonna say this right now, Aaron Glenn. Enjoy being the coach for the remainder of the season because after the season, I think you're done. I think it's over. Uh,
I tried to give him
Unfortunately,
benefit of the doubt, but it's
there's no way you can bring him back. I'm sorry. Like
yeah.
there's no fight from this team. You never want to fire a coach after year one, but when your team doesn't show any fight, any competitiveness, that's a sign that the coach he's not the right guy for the job. And it just seems like his voice is just deaf ear to a lot of these players. They're not really listening to him and his coaching at all. And as a defensive minded coach, the fact that your defense is this bad, despite the fact I know you traded two key guys on that defense, but they got to put up a fight and just laying an egg like that against your division rival. It's time for him to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but game is game.
Game is game. It's the reality of the situation. Also, Brees Hall, I think he either
He
is
let off
he
some
a
tweets.
thousand. I think did he reach 1,000 yards
Yeah, he
or he
did.
needs
He
one
did.
more?
The
Okay,
first running back since 2015 to do so on the Jets. And then
unbelievable.
he was letting off some tweets during that San Francisco and Chicago game, praising the play call and say how they making it look easy and all
Hmm.
that stuff. So I think he out of there.
Yeah, he probably is. Let's move on to the Giants versus Raiders game. Another one that was
The
very meaningless
Tankathon.
unless you were one of those teams that hope your team loses. I just saw something where the Raiders did one of the worst tank jobs, one of the most egregious tank jobs ever. I don't know exactly what they did. I just saw a tweet about it, but it was one of those situations where what team wants to lose more, and it just felt like the Raiders. They were like, nope, we want to have the number one pick, and the Giants. I guess this team has more pride. They won easily, 34-10, and that's what they wrote.
Yeah, the Raiders, they once they benched Max Crosby for the year, shut him down. I knew what time it was on. I should have picked. I don't know why I picked the Raiders to win. I should have just picked the Giants like my brain told me to. But yeah, that was a whooping. I ain't even watched that game because yeah, no,
Why? Like, why watch the game?
yeah,
That's the thing. Um, moving on, Lions Vikings.
this one
Surprisingly,
surprised me. Yeah,
I thought the Lions were going to win this game given the fact that the Vikings, their season is over, and the Lions are fighting for the playoff loss. But it just seems like the Lions this season, with the amount of injuries, with the new coaching turnover from offensive and defensive coordinators, it just seems like they're not able to overcome all the just things that have gone awry from that team. And this was just the latest circumstance that transpired in this game. Jared Goff wasn't all that great this game,
he was horrible.
and
But
the
I'll
thing,
cut him a little.
yeah,
I'll get shoot him a little bail by saying that offensive line wasn't blocking the soul.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty bad. And the crazy thing about it is that the Vikings, the passing attack wasn't even all that good. I saw a crazy stat about their passing
Didn't Nick
attack.
Brosmer only? Didn't they only have net 5 passing yards or something?
Something crazy like that.
That yeah, you can't lose that game. I'm sorry. Like Brian Flores is a monster on that defense. I please push up to Dallas. Please, we need you. If Brian Flores could come to Dallas, oh my gosh, he would change my broke life. Please,
Nah, nah,
you should be
nah,
hoping he comes to that. You get him out your division.
nah. If Jeff Hapley gets a head coaching job, Packers need to do all they can to give him the bag to come to Green
No,
Bay.
you know that ain't happening.
Shit. Hey, the right price. Hey, who knows?
He mess around, get a head coaching job maybe.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, man. The Lions. It just hasn't gone their way the entire year with Cherikov, with Amon Ra, with all these guys. Sam Laporte has been hurt. The offensive line has been banged up. Guys on the defensive side keep going down with injuries. It just wasn't their year. It's just simple as that. And they're eliminated from playoff contention, and that's just the way it is. It's a embarrassing sight, but I loved it.
I secretly liked it too because Lions fans been getting out their body the past 2 seasons. I'm like, all right, I see why you can't give these people anything nice because look how they act when they just taste a crumb of success.
Yep. Moving on, Broncos, Chiefs. The Chiefs, we already knew they were pretty much done for. No
Still played
Mahomes.
down to the wire though.
They did, and that speaks to the coaching of the Chiefs. But the Broncos, they ultimately won the game as they should. The better team. Bo Nix didn't play all that great, but he did enough for them to win at the end. Able to get to late touchdown, late score at the end to win the game. RJ Harvey was okay. He had some on the ground. He had some in the receiving. Um, who else? Cortland Sutton. He was pretty much neutralized this game. Only 4 receptions for 40 yards, and that's pretty much all they wrote. I mean, there's not really much else to say. The Broncos, they're a bit up and down, hot and cold, but it's a division game, so I'll cut them some slack. And that's all I really got to say on that matter, man.
Yeah, Chad Oladapoon, I think that's how you say his name. Didn't play terrible out there. Played better than I thought he would for a third stringer. Uh, Chiefs showed fight. They say goes to coaching. So, but it was a good loss for the Chiefs. You play hard, but you still improve your draft pick. So hey, that's a win in their book.
Yep. Moving on, let's go to the let's go to the Jaguars versus Colts, which was a very close game.
It
Surprising,
was.
well, not too surprising. It's division opponent, and the Colts still have enough talent. But it looked like the Colts could potentially win the game. But eventually the Jaguars they locked in and they came through and won the game. Thanks to the heroics of just from a couple of guys. But it wasn't the prettiest game. Trevor Lawrence he threw an interception, but he did have two rushing touchdowns. He did enough to win the game, and that's all that really matters. Parker Washington, he had 150 yards receiving, and Travis Etienne, he didn't have the greatest on the ground. He had 76 yards on 17 carries, 4.5 yards per carry. And the defense, they had Josh Allen had a sack, Trayvon Walker had a sack, so they had only like two sacks. I don't know what their pressure rate was, but regardless, Philip Rivers didn't have the greatest game. 17 for 30 passing, 140 yards passing, one touchdown, one interception. Jonathan Taylor was pretty much neutralized. He had that one rushing touchdown, but besides that, I mean, 70 yards rushing, 21 carries, 3.3 yards per carry. And Tyler Warren, I don't know what's going on with Tyler Warren.
Um, I don't know. That passing attack just isn't very good. Once Phillip Rivers got in, it hasn't really been hitting on anything. So I don't think it's a talent issue for him. But yeah, who would have thought putting the 44-year-old QB in off the couch wasn't going to yield the best results? Who would have thought?
Shout out to the Jags, bro. Shout out to them. 12-4. Who would have thought? 12-4, making it very hard for this Coach of the Year contest, making it very difficult. All right, moving on. Let's go to the Buccaneers versus Dolphins. Another game I was a bit surprised, but at the same time, with the way that the Buccaneers have been playing, we shouldn't be surprised by this outcome. I am a bit surprised that I want to say Quinn Ewers was starting this game. Um, I think he played pretty well this game too. He was 14 for 22 passing, 172 yards, and two touchdowns. Devon Achan was 18 carries, 83 yards. And yeah, man, like uh, you mentioned it before. You said you think the Buccaneers are the softest football team in the NFL.
They might be, man. They just get. I don't understand. I don't know if it's the coaching. Todd Bowles, I think he should be gone after this season because this is a colossal disappointment. You started the season off red hot. I think it was like what 6-1 at one point, 6-2 or something, and you just collapsed. You lost 7 of your last 8 games. That's unacceptable, man. That is unacceptable. And for a defensive minded head coach, for your defense to look this bad, like I saw that game. The Dolphins were converting third down after third down. It was embarrassing. And then Baker Mayfield getting on the other side of it, commit turnovers. Now I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if he's hurt again. He's playing hurt. I don't know what, but Baker Mayfield has been playing like straight dog water these past 10 weeks or so. It's been bad. It's been bad. They're gonna have to do a lot of work in the offseason because as it stands right now, this team mess around finish last place in the division next year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Baker. Obviously, he did get hurt during a certain time in the year, and it seems like once he got hurt, everything started to go down from him as a quarterback. And I don't know if the play calling is also part of it, but him being a turnover machine is just not good, and that's unfortunate. And Emeka Buka, his play as of recently, ever since he started off pretty hot, he's just gone down, down, down. I don't know if that's just a rookie wall or maybe it's how to utilize him, but he's just not the same dominant player how he was when he first uh, played and started in this league in this season. So it's just been a rough stretch for the Buccaneers. And we saw it, we you saw it coming because of just the lack of talent on defense, and the amount of one score games that they were winning and how they were winning them. You said this wasn't sustainable, and you were correct. And now they're going to miss the playoff, potentially miss the playoffs if they don't beat the Panthers next week.
Yeah, it's sad state of affairs for them.
Mm.
Now, question:
Yeah.
what the Dolphins going on kind of this streak to close out the season? Not really a streak. They won a lot more games they were projected to win. Do you think this saves Mike McDaniel's job?
I think it does. I think what's going to happen is that they're going to decide to move off from Tua with the benching, and I believe they may try to get somebody in free agency. I think Malik Willis is probably going to be a quarterback that they consider. Maybe they try to trade for Mac Jones, but Tua is not going to be the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins next year. That I can guarantee. I don't have no reporting on that, but given the fact that they benched him for Quinn Ewers, it's a likelihood that Tua will not be on the Miami Dolphins roster next
Okay,
season.
so that's gonna be tough because they just paid him.
They did. They did. They're gonna have to eat some
I
money
don't know
up,
what the
but
dead money would be with that. Actually, let me look it up. Let me look at Spo Track.
it's gonna be a lot of money. It's gonna be a lot of money. It's probably gonna be over 80 million.
Let me see. It says he signed 4 years, $212 million.
It's gonna be over 80 million.
His cap hit this next year would be $56 million, and dead cap 99 million.
Oh, I was off by 19.
This year it's 137, which is outrageous. But
Hey,
it seems like, man, this is bad. 2027 they can get out with only a $34 million cap hit.
hmm.
But man, if you're not starting him, that's a lot of money to just be having on the bench.
It is. It is. But they really have no choice. What are you gonna do going into next year? You gonna run it back and have him who we see at this point has not been good and has been regressing slowly and slowly every single season, and it just seems like the vibes with him is just not good in that locker room. I don't think it's a good idea to have him on this roster. I think just the vibes and the overall production just doesn't measure up to the contract, and I think they need to try to do something where the Colts did with Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold and QBs like that, where you take a flyer of somebody that was pretty much thrown to the wayside. They were able to develop under a system for a few years and improved and shown some signs of pretty good quarterback play, and see if they can play well in your system for an entire NFL season. I think Malik Willis is probably the perfect guy that they can try to at least try out, given that Mike McDaniel's and Matt LaFleur came from the same coaching tree, has some of the same terminology, probably some of the same concepts that will work well with Malik Willis. It's in Miami. He's going to be in Miami, which is better weather, so he'll have better conditions that he can work with. And the fact that he was able to throw the football in Green Bay and look relatively good in Green Bay, despite the fact that Green Bay doesn't have the greatest weather in the world, just shows to show his arm talent, his ability to move. And I just think it's worth giving that a shot with, I don't know, 2 years, 40 million, than um, keeping Tua and the vibes being that bad as a collective team. So that's where I'm at with it. I think that's what they're going to go for.
We shall see. We shall.
We shall
They
see.
might just have to eat it. They might just have to eat that loss and
Yeah.
cut ties with him.
Literally, they're gonna have to do that. Moving on. Let's go to the Seahawks versus Panthers. We pretty much knew Seahawks had this in the bag. The Panthers, They're not a serious football team. We thought they were a serious football team, but they're not a serious football team. The Seahawks are arguably the best team in football. Um, Sam Darnold doesn't have to play his A game for them to win. Charbonnet had a really good game on the ground. Jackson Smith and Jigby was okay. He had 9 receptions for 72 yards passing. But again, when you're playing a team like the Panthers, your offense doesn't have to be A plus to win the game. You can have a B to B minus game, and as long as the defense plays well, you're gonna win 9 times out of 10. And that's just how I am with it with this game.
Yeah, I did watch this game. Bryce Young played horrible. Like he wasn't good. I think he had like 50 something passing yards. He wasn't good at all. Run game couldn't really do too much. The Seahawks, but they just had them boys in Rikers. I'm sorry. And yeah, they made a crucial mistake in a one possession game. Got a face mask on JSN, and that extended the drive. I believe they ended up scoring a touchdown. I want to say that drive too. So that was kind of like the backbreaker or the game killing play right there. J.C. Horn committed that penalty, but man, the NFC South, the fact that one of them teams is going to get in the playoffs is insane because both of them low key stink.
This has happened so many times in the NFC South. It used to be one of the best divisions in football, but over the past 5 to 6 years, this has been the case for the NFC South. I remember that last year with Tom Brady. That was a really bad year in the NFC South where they made the playoffs and they were like 8 and 9. This has been the
Yeah,
case for the NFC South for many years, and unfortunately, with the whole division stuff, it's going to continue unless teams in the NFC South start to improve, which I don't think that's going to be the case unless the Saints next year really take a step in the right direction, which could be a possibility because with the way that they have looked over the past 5 weeks. But at this moment, that's just the landscape of the NFC South. It's a crapshoot. It really is, like all these bad teams. Moving on, let's go. Let's see. We got here. We got here. Browns versus Steelers. This was a lot of people's upset pick, and they were right. I picked the Steelers in this game. I thought they were going to win, but it turns out I was wrong, and a lot of people were right. And the Browns, a divisional foe, a team that always gives the Steelers a bit of a headache. And with Miles Garrett being there, with that defense being how it is, and no DK Metcalf for the final 2 games of the season because of
idiot.
the incident that happened, they really missed DK Metcalf in this game because there was moments in this game where if he was on the field, it would have been very likely that he makes those plays or at least give them opportunities in the moment of the game. And unfortunately, without DK Metcalf, it becomes a lot harder for Aaron Rodgers and that passing offense to get something going in the red zone or in general. And that was the case this game. I also heard a take that the Steelers were prioritizing too much on making sure Miles Garrett doesn't get a sack in this game. And that really hurt them in pass protection and run blocking. And I haven't watched the film too much, but that makes a lot. That could be the case. That could be the case because I remember when my Packers played the Browns, and we made it a point of emphasis of not allowing Miles Garrett to wreak havoc on us, even though he still wreaked havoc on us. Like there would be moments where there would be 3 guys blocking Miles Garrett. Like I seen images of 3 guys blocking Miles Garrett from the Packers offensive line, and that freed up other guys to get to us. And ultimately, it didn't work, and our offense was very pathetic that day. The same thing could probably be the case for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because we got a scenario where we got a Ravens versus Steelers for the division yet again. 2 rivals, probably the only real rivalry left in football in the NFL is the Steelers versus the Ravens. So we got that to look forward to this weekend, this coming weekend. So, any thoughts?
Um, yeah, man. I don't know who in their right mind thought for the game winning play We should target Denzel Ward 3 times in a row with MVS. I mean, come on, man. What, uh, like, bro? What is that play called? That's bad. And like Roman Wilson, he's not good. Calvin Austin, he's a jag. Is that team? Jalen Warren couldn't really get his game off. That it was just bad. It was a sad state of affairs. The Browns defense is good. Jim Schwartz is going to get a lot of interest in the offseason, possibly for head coach, but definitely for defensive coordinator positions if he decides to leave Cleveland. But yeah, that game, I honestly I had a feeling the Browns would win, but I stuck with the Steelers anyway against my better judgment. But Mike Tomlin, man, he gets the 9 wins, and it's just like, what are you doing, dude? So hey, I'm glad we got a matchup in this upcoming week with the Ravens and the Steelers. That's for all the marbles as far as the division goes. So hey, we got something good out of it.
Lamar, please play. Please.
He should.
Don't screw us over. Please. We need you. I don't want to see Tyler Huntley. Please. Make it interesting, please. Anywho. Oh yeah, Shador, that one interception, that was horrible. He just threw his mechanics out the window on that one. Feet wasn't planted at all. He threw a ham sandwich to that DB, and it's all he wrote. Shador didn't have the greatest game, but it didn't matter because the defense was hooping the entire game.
Yeah, he was playing solid in the first half. Then it just went all downhill. So hey, but according to the people on the internet, QB wins the only thing that matters. So
Yep, literally, yep. Doesn't matter at that point. Look at the Pro Bowl.
mm,
All right, moving on. Moving on. Let's go to the Texans versus Chargers. Okay, I talked a little bit about the Texans, earlier in the podcast, but now let's talk about the game. And this game just showed why the Chargers have no shot of competing for a Super Bowl. The injuries, the offensive line just not being good enough. Justin Herbert, it seems like every year has to overcome something after another. Regardless of how good the coaching is, you still need enough talent to compete. But I will say they did make it interesting up to the end. But ultimately, they just weren't able to capitalize. They weren't able to generate enough points to win the game. Um, and on the Texans side of things, they looked really good early. The defense for the Chargers, the DBs for the Chargers, I don't know what they were doing. They were falling asleep. Those back-to-back drives where CJ Stroud was able to deliver the football down the field on 2 touchdown occasions. But after that, they locked in. But yeah, this Texans team, this Texans offense, it wasn't pretty. It looked really good early, and then later on in the game, something just clicked for that Chargers defense. Jesse Minter, he started to dial up some schemes, dialed up some defensive coverages that really fooled CJ Stroud, and he was able to force CJ Stroud to commit some turnovers, even though some of that was just really boneheaded mistakes by CJ Stroud because he had some clean pockets. He had time in the pocket, and he just made horrible decisions. And that's why I'm a bit concerned with this Texans team, is because although they have improved offensively, although the offensive line has improved because they only gave up 8 pressures this game, I think CJ Stroud was only pressured on like 20% of his dropbacks, which isn't too
pretty
bad.
good. Mm.
I'm still not sold on this passing attack. I still see some ways where defenses can take advantage of this passing attack because that Chargers defense, it just seems like they knew exactly what they were doing. Because CJ Stroud, he was out there trying to figure out, okay, there's nobody open outside of Nico Collins, outside of maybe some plays from Jaden Higgins. It's looking really muddy out there. And then CJ Stroud forcing the ball when he shouldn't force the ball. It's a really bad sign. So that defense is fantastic. One of the best defenses we've seen in the past 5 to 10 years. But that offense got to produce some points. That offense got to convert down the field. And the play caller, he needs to scheme something up better if they are going to have a chance to make the Super Bowl. And this game showed some of the worries that I had for this Texans team, even though they won.
Yeah, one thing I did like about the Texans, they generated explosive plays early in the game, got out to a
Yeah.
14-0 lead, and at that point, you just got to lean on your defense to get some stops because the Texans, like you said, one of the best teams statistically we've seen since like the Legion of Boom, Saxonville type defenses. So, yeah, man, like I said, CJ Stroud did have some boneheaded plays. He threw that one interception. I want to believe it was to Tony Jefferson, I want to say. No, Derwin James. It was Derwin James. I was like, what was he looking at? Like, I believe he was trying to target, I want to say that was Jaden Higgins going on like an end route. And like, it was 2 men over there. Safety drove on the ball, got the easy pass. I said, yeah, this is, no, that's not good. That's not good enough. Thankfully, the Texans defense is so elite that they didn't really give up a lot of points off of those turnovers. But yeah, you can't have that in the playoffs for sure because that's how you get put down in the hole and you have to claw your way out. Now you forcing even more passes. And this is not good, a good state of affairs. But yeah, um, the Chargers, man, that offensive line, that's gonna be the reason they ain't gonna win nothing. That offensive line is terrible. Like Herbert can only do so much. Like he made some good throws to QJ. He made some throws, like, but man, that offensive line is just so bad. It's very bad.
Got to stay healthy. Like, guys got to stay healthy, man. Like, they had Joe Alt, they had Rashawn Slater, and then boom, they go down with injuries. They had a good enough O line, and then boom, injuries. Something got to happen with that strength and conditioning or something. I don't know. But you can't have two of your top offensive linemen, two Pro Bowl caliber offensive linemen, go down with injuries and expect that all of a sudden it's going to look good unless you have a good plan in place where you continue to draft offensive linemen to make sure that you have depth in the event somebody goes down with injury. Um, I was going to say something. I was going to say something about this game. Damn, I was going to say something else about this game, but I forgot. I forgot. Oh, speaking of the Texans, you mentioned interceptions by CJ Stroud, but something else that I noticed that I was a bit perplexed about was during the game. Um, I believe CJ Stroud may have got sacked on this play, but nobody was blocking him. Like literally before the snap, there was literally no offensive line that was blocking this rusher. I think it may have been four or five guys rushing the passer. The running back was actually no, he didn't get sacked. What happened was he had Woody Marks um, roll out as a wide receiver, and because of that, there was no blocker in place. So they just had a free rusher. There was no hot route at all, literally. So you're telling me this is the problem with this offense. There's still signs, bad signs in regards to this offense where you would allow a free rusher to almost hit CJ Stroud and there would be no hot route. There would be no change in pass protection to avoid a mistake like that. And that's where my concern is that the offensive coordinator or CJ Stroud, whoever it may be, who has the responsibility for something like that to happen, wasn't able to identify that pre-snap because you could tell like the rusher was right there at the line of scrimmage in his stance, ready to rush the passer, and literally no adjustment on the fly. It blows my mind, and that's concerning. You cannot let that happen. And I know that's one play, and I'm sort of nitpicking, but that's how you lose games.
Yeah.
That's how fumbles happen. That's how sacks happen. That's how game-ending plays happen when you don't make the adjustments on the fly or you call the right play to make sure that your QB is protected. Woody, like you have Woody Marks outside as a receiver running like a fade or a streak or something. Like, come on, man. What are we doing? No hot route or anything for that is crazy. And I forget
Yeah.
who the pass rusher was. I think I have.
Um
I forget who the pass. I got the
did
play.
Did he get sacked?
No, he didn't get sacked, but
Was it Khalil Mack? He threw that like kind of a fade ball to Woody Marks when he was.
yeah, it was Khalil
Yeah,
Mack,
okay, it was that
52,
play.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he had to roll to his left.
I remember that play vividly. Yeah,
He had to roll to his left because it was a free rusher. Nobody was blocking Khalil Mack. It's like how? And it's probably because he didn't change the line protection. He needed to change the line protection to make sure that there wasn't going to be a free rusher. And unfortunately, that just wasn't the case.
yeah,
Anywho,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You got to
Anywho,
win though. So
yeah, they got the win, but barely. Anywho, let's move on to the. Let's go to my game, man. Let's go to my game. I watched a little bit of this game, but again, it's. I'll say this: I haven't watched the film, but what I've heard about Malik Willis, damn good football player.
yeah, he was
I
good. He was good.
already knew he was a good backup. I watched my Packers. I've seen him play before, but this game really showed some of his capability. Um, and yeah, he was dealing out there. Unfortunately, he re-injured his shoulder, so he
Ah,
got out of the game. But it didn't really matter. We were still losing. The defense wasn't playing all that well. Derrick Henry was getting whatever he wanted. Tyler Huntley was balling out. So it didn't really matter if Malik Willis was playing or not. Derrick Henry had 4 touchdowns, 216 yards, rushing on 36 carries. Is it 2001? Like what type of 2001 offense is this?
Eddie
Anywho,
George type beat.
Eddie George, Jamal Lewis, like what, like bell cow carries, like that's insane. Malik Willis he was 18 for 21 passing, 288 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 9 carries rushing, 60 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Damn, is that Josh Allen?
Man, he was
Good,
hooping.
good lord, my goodness! And you were like, "Where's Josh Jacobs?" Well, Malik Willis took all of his carries. What's your thoughts on this game, man?
I didn't watch this game like at all for the most part. I like earlier I checked the score and I was like, oh, the Ravens getting out on them. I'm not even gonna turn the game on. Um, but yeah, but what I've seen, Malik Willis is he's he's gonna get some money this off season. Yeah, Ravens stay alive. Great game from Derrick Henry. Ravens defense still ain't worth a ham sandwich, but that's a whole nother problem they gotta face. But yeah, man, salute to the
Rash-
Ravens, I guess.
Rashawn Gary is
Oh my
stealing
goodness,
money.
he's bad. I don't know what happened to him.
Stealing money, bro. He hasn't had a sack in like 7 straight games. He's stealing money. He
Terrible.
has 7.5 sacks, and he hasn't had a sack in like 7 or 8 games since. Stealing money. I do not want him on my football team next year. I don't. If we can figure out a way to save money by cutting him, moving him, whatever it may be, do it because he's just not a good football player. He's a flawed football player who was eating off of the presence of Micah Parsons. But when they ain't no Micah Parsons, the dude is a fraud. Fraud. We can find another pass rusher that can do similar stuff and pay him far less than what we're paying for Rashawn Gary. And that's just where I'm at with it. And Nate Hobbs injured again. Like, oh my God, bro. Can you stay healthy for more than 5 games consecutively? Like, seriously. Like, I get football is a physical sport, but my goodness, bro. You are always hurt. Change up something. I don't know what it is. But damn. Pay him all that money. He keeps getting hurt week after week after week. He's pretty much Anthony Davis every time he gets on the field. Every week, every game is something new, something nagging. You just pray that he doesn't get hurt. His body was not meant to play football, not meant to play professional football. Because if this is the case, why is he on the field? Anywho, not much else.
Money.
Oh, yeah. Money, pretty much. And Matthew Golden, I see all these people online banging on Matthew Golden. Oh, he's a bust. Oh, Luther Burton better than him. I'm telling you this right now. This is how I know people are either not Packers fans or never paid attention to the Packers over the years, because this has always been the case for Packers receivers, especially when you have a receiver that's coming in who's an outside receiver and he's trying to get reps against guys that are outside receivers like Romeo Dobbs, like Christian Watson. These are guys that have been in the system for years and that Jordan Love trusts. And Matthew Golden is a rookie. He's not going to get more reps than those guys. And then Jaden Reed is our starting slot receiver. So where does that leave Matthew Golden? It leaves him out of the picture for this season. The difference between Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed is when Jaden Reed came into the fold his first year, Jaden Reed was the starting slot receiver. We needed a slot receiver because we didn't have a slot receiver. Dobbs and Watson, as up and down as they are our outside receivers. Were our outside receivers and still are outside receivers. Matthew Golden is an outside receiver, and he's a rookie. And he's not as talented as a Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase. He's not one of those guys. So what do you think is going to happen? He's not going to get much reps. Next season is where I could really evaluate Matthew Golden because Romeo Dobbs is going to be out. He's not going to be on the team anymore. So that's going to clear a spot for the outside receiver for a Matthew Golden. It's just right now, because of the depth chart and because of the positions at the wide receiver position, he's going to be out of the picture. And it's unfortunate because I see the talent. Whenever they throw to him, you can see the talent. You can see how good he is as a pass catcher. But unfortunately, he's splitting reps with other guys that are playing on the outside that he likes to play. And that's just the case. Luther Burton would have had this same problem. He's more of a slot guy, but guess what? We have Jaden Reed, who's a slot guy. So he would have been the fourth or fifth guy on the depth chart. So I don't see people are just so dumb. Like Bears fans, oh my God, Bears fans are some of the most unintelligent people you could talk to. Literally, they're just like Lions fans. Just like whenever they have some slim of hope, they be parading, they be talking crazy, they be saying whatever. And I'm like, yo, act like you've been here before.
Well, they kind of
Jeez.
have it.
I'm just like with the Lions, I know, but damn, act like you've been here before. They don't know how to act when they win it. Like it is just unbelievable. Putting on the cheese crater hats, which all right, y'all won the game, I understand, but like you had to knock out my quarterback to win the game. Like let's put context in what happened. You knocked out my quarterback. But anywho, moving on out of this game, let's get to the real games, man. Let's get to the real games. All right, Bills versus Eagles. Whew. Where do we start? Damn. I'll say this. I think what happened to the Bills was a collective meltdown. I don't think I can point to just one person. The defense did their job. They holding Philly to 13 points. The defense did its job. Offensively, I gotta say this: Joe Brady. Why are we throwing so many damn screens? Got Josh Allen. Like I'm like, damn. I'm watching the film. Like, damn. That's like the 10th or 11th screen. Do we need to throw all those damn screens? They're barely working. I understand the wide receiving core isn't all that talented. I understand the Philly defense is pretty good. But come on, how predictable can you be? So I'll say this: the play calling wasn't all that good. And then Josh Allen, he made some mistakes. The fumble. I think there were some other plays. Oh yeah, at the end of the game, the 2-point conversion could have won the game. It was clear as day, and he wasn't accurate on that throw. He screwed up. He choked. Let's just put it there. He choked.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that shouldn't have happened though. There shouldn't have been a case where you go for two at home against Philly. I felt like that was you're being a bit too greedy. Just get the points, just get the field goal, go to overtime, and then see what happens. But no, they said we're gonna go for the kill shot. It's Josh Allen. Gotcha. But I just think that was a bit too greedy. If you're on the road, I understand, but you're at home. Just go for the field goal. You got Josh Allen. You're at home. Philly can't score. Just do that. But no, they didn't. So I think coaching, Josh Allen not playing all that great, that fumble, that turnover, the missed throw at the end of the game, and the play calling. My God, the play calling. Why are we throwing so many damn screens? Blows my mind. And that's where I'm at with it. What about you?
Man, oh man, this game was painful to watch. If you were trying to look at the Bills and be like, okay, let's see what the Bills got. They're going against one of the better defenses in the league. Josh Allen was getting MVP shouts a few weeks ago. Let's see what he has. He ain't have Nathaniel this game. I mean, excuse me, it was, oh my goodness, he wasn't good. He was not good. He had that fumble. He fumbled the ball, and instead of going to collect the football, he's over there arguing with the refs. And another play that blew my mind, he took like a 20-yard sack, knocked him
Yep.
out of field goal range.
Could have threw the ball away.
Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing all this running around bro, throw the ball away? Like, then the weather was bad, so that could have factored into some of the play callings. But like, man, like Jalen Hurts didn't even play that well, and he outplayed Josh Allen. Like, it's crazy. And Jalen Hurts didn't complete a second half pass, and he still outplayed Josh Allen.
How is that possible? How do teams win not completing a single pass?
One word: defense. Vic Fangio. That's two words. But man, wow, that was a crazy game. I thought they was gonna pull it off, but then I saw them going for two. I was like, they're definitely not about to get this two. Like, they haven't been playing well enough to be confident to get a 2-point conversion. I was low key leaning, kick the field goal, but then I remembered I kicked the extra point. Then I remember they did get the last extra point blocked. But I said, hey,
That
you
is
go for
true.
two. You really don't have much to lose. You already clinched the playoffs. It's not like the only thing you could game is like seeding position, but yeah, I just said whatever. That was a bad game. The Eagles, they didn't play all that great, especially offense. Offense, they're terrible. They're terrible offense. Saquon was neutralized pretty much again. Didn't really do much offensively. Pass tack didn't look good in the second half at all. They didn't complete a single pass in the second. But that defense, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Jalix Hunt, Reed Blankenship came down and put the boom on Khalil Shakir. I was like, dang, he looked like a missile shot out of a cannon. But yeah, that was a sloppy game. It was a very sloppy game. The weather was sloppy. The team play was sloppy. That was just burn the tape. Burn the tape.
No, this remind me of um reminds me of how like remember like during the playoffs the Chiefs they wouldn't play their best football, but the other team would play so out of character than what they normally play, and the Chiefs would capitalize on it in the end, and they would still win the game even though they didn't play all that well. This is what this game reminded me of, and it's the Bills as well, because the Bills, you would think, oh man, they're right in there, like they should win this game, and then they just are out of character at the end. Like Josh Allen doesn't complete the pass at the end for a wide open receiver. It's like what? Like you're Josh Allen. He choked. Simple and plain. That was a choke job. I doubt anybody's going to say it was a choke job because he's arguably the most protected quarterback in the NFL, most protected football player in the NFL, outside of maybe
I'll
Patrick
say it
Mahomes.
was a choke job.
That was a choke job. You can't miss that throw in that instance. And then there was another throw. If you don't remember, it was the throw to Brandon Cooks where I think he overthrew Brandon Cooks in one play. Um, I think it may have been early in the game, but that could have gone for potentially a touchdown or close to the red zone area. So this game, burn the tape. Was not a good game for the Bills. The run in the game wasn't all that great, and the play calling wasn't all that great. And the fact that you were in that game, and there were so many times where you could have just took the game over and got this game over with at home. They just couldn't produce enough points. They couldn't convert down the field. And Josh Allen was turning the ball over and making so many mental mistakes that you would think a rookie would make, not Josh Allen would make. And because he's Josh Allen, because the media loves Josh Allen, he's going to get away with it. If this,
He
I'm going to
shouldn't.
repeatedly say this over and over and over again. If this was Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, they're getting crucified. They're getting killed for it. I'm telling you, off of a regular season game, they're getting killed for it. They're going to say, oh, this is why you can't trust them in the playoffs. Oh, see, they're the reason they lose. See,
Oh,
like
they
they
don't
can't
win
take
big
over
games.
games. Yes. Josh Allen, not a peep. Or they may be critical of that one play, but they move on really quickly. They say
Or
Josh
they
Allen's
just
still the best
shoot him
quarterback in
a
the
lot of
NFL.
bail.
They shoot him a lot of bail. They say, man, his talent around him isn't all that good.
Like, is he the
Sean
MVP or
McDermott,
not?
Sean McDermott, the head coach, the decision to go for two instead of kicking the field goal. You can't do that, regardless of the fact that the field goal got blocked. You can't just allow the other team. You can't just allow the other team to dictate what you want to do. Like just stuff like that, where the media will try to spin it to where it's not Josh Allen's fault. No, it's all the other variables around him. Instead of no, Josh Allen, he messed up. They could have won the game if he threw an accurate pass. If that was Dak, if that was Jordan Love, if that was Lamar Jackson, if that was any black quarterback outside of Jalen Hurts, they getting criticized. But no, no, not the media darling, not Josh Allen.
Man, if the Cowboys only managed to score 12 points in the game, they would have lost by 3 possessions. Like, oh man, that was such a winnable game. But that's people's MVP though, not mine. But that's some other
Yes.
people's MVP.
Yeah. I mean, I like Josh Allen. I don't think there's
I
nothing
do
wrong
too.
with him. It's just the media, the way that the media portrays him. Like sometimes I just wonder, like, why are we not being consistent with every quarterback? Like, why do you always give grace to somebody like Josh Allen, but not give the same grace to somebody like Lamar, somebody like Jordan Love, somebody like, like some of these QBs that are just being criticized left and right for the littlest of things. Anywho, let's move on, man. Um, but by the way, I think if the Bears lose next week and the Eagles win, I think the Packers play the Eagles. But if the Bears win, then I think the Packers play the Bears. So
Who?
just keep that in mind. I really don't care who it is. I probably would rather play the Eagles just because their offense is terrible and I just can't deal with Bears fans for another week. Like they're super annoying. So I'd rather just go with the Eagles. And if we lose, we lose. Whatever. All right. Last game. Last game. We have the 49ers and the Bears, a
What a game.
game of the year contender. This game was outstanding from start to finish. The defenses were atrocious until the very end, at least with the 49ers. They were able to do some things at the end. But man, this game was amazing. I got to give a lot of credit to both starting quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy. First off, I want to talk about Brock Purdy, and then I'll get to Caleb. Brock Purdy, I know we be sort of
Bashing
hypercritical
them?
of
Oh
Brock
yeah.
Purdy, but he was throwing some dots in tight
Week
coverage.
week 17, Brock Purdy, the best I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh. 5 total touchdowns. That interception wasn't good, but outside of the interception, oh my goodness. This guy, he was playing the best football I ever seen played. He was making some elite level throws in tight coverage, some very
Getting it done with
difficult
his
throws.
legs too.
He was he was really dealing out there, man. So I got
When
to
he
give
needed to
Brock Purdy
play, he was
credit.
right there. It was
He was right there, bro. And without George Kittle too.
yeah.
So He was
Earning
really out
that
there.
$200 million.
And there was one play, I think the Bears disguised they made it seem like it was like too high zone coverage and it was really man coverage, and Brock Purdy was able to pick it up easily. I think he threw it to maybe CMC or some other receiver, and it was in tight coverage too. I was like, damn, he is having a flawless game. It was just really good quarterback play from both ends. And on Caleb Williams' side, man, listen, listen, I'll say this about Caleb Williams. Some people think, oh, you're a hater and stuff like that. First of all, I was one of the few people to actually um, compliment Caleb Williams on his play when everybody was criticizing him back in week 2. Remember that? I remember that. The first 2 weeks of the season, people were like, oh, Caleb Williams sucks. Oh, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. And I was more optimistic. I was more complimentary of Caleb Williams' play in week 2 than anybody. Only me and Dan Orlowski was like, damn, I mean, Caleb Williams, he kind of improved from week 1. I know that's not hard to do, but he kind of did improve. And I was talking more glowingly about his play than everybody else. But here's what I'll say about this game. I was very impressed with Caleb Williams' accuracy. I was very impressed more so with his ability to read coverages, identify defenses, and when need be, if there's no other option, scramble for a first down, scramble for how many yards you need. And there was a few plays that I actually recorded that he did really well. It was the one towards the end of the game where Robert Sala, he was trying to disguise a blitz. Well, not disguise a blitz. It was he was making it seem like they were about to send a blitz, but then ultimately it was actually coverage. It was more of a zone coverage scheme, and Caleb Williams identified it instantly, and he was very patient. And I think he delivered the football to either Loveland or Komet on that play. So I was like, damn, that was actually um, a really good play by Caleb Williams. That shows the growth of Caleb Williams. And then there was another play. What was it? Oh, it was to Walker towards the sideline. I think he had a corner. It may have been a corner route. Yeah, it was a corner route. And it was a very difficult throw. He had to really put the ball to where only Walker could get it because there was two DBs. Um, I want to say like in between. It wasn't like super tight coverage, but it's not the easiest throw to make. And the fact that he was able to complete that throw, that just lets me know that he's improving in terms of a passer, in terms of his fundamentals, because he wasn't doing that against my team. And then the last one, um, where was it? It was when he scrambled for a first down, I think it was. So whoever 27 is for the 49ers, I don't know his name. I forget his name. But
I
he
believe
was
that's Jair Brown.
so that DB, he was trying to bait Caleb Williams to throw a pick towards his direction because what was happening is he was guarding, I want to say, the sideline, and he was also guarding um towards the 30 yarder, where it says 30-yard, and towards the sideline there was a receiver. I think it may have been, I want to say, DJ Moore. He was running an out route maybe towards the sideline, and the DB made it seem like he wasn't guarding the sideline area, but he really was. So he was trying to bait Caleb to throw that area so he could pick it off. Caleb Williams didn't take the bait, and instead he was going through his regressions. He ultimately scrambled for a first down because nobody was open. So that lets me know that Caleb Williams, he's starting to see it. He's starting to understand coverages more, and he's being a lot more patient. There are still moments in the game where he's putting the ball in harm's way. I think there was one time, I don't know if it was Komet or Loveland towards the end of the game that nearly got picked. That was a bad decision. And then the throw to Manungai towards the red zone area where It was a simple short pass, and he just didn't throw the ball that well. So yeah, there were still some mistakes he made, but ultimately he had a really good game. I was impressed.
Yeah, man. I was impressed with Caleb too. Like he was making throw after throw. He was going band for band. Robert Saleh has that 49ers defense has been higher than playing better than expected due to all them injuries they suffered. But Robert Saleh is a good defensive coordinator and he a good defensive mind. And Caleb and Ben Johnson, they had answers for pretty much everything they threw at him until the very end, where literally that last play, nobody was open. I mean,
Nobody.
I couldn't even blame Caleb for that one because like I saw they showed the red zone, the end zone view of the play, and nobody was open. So I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like
Caleb could have.
somebody all the way on the other side, but he's not gonna be able to see him
Yeah,
because he's
DJ
on the
Moore, he
other
was like
side.
jumping up and up, and you this ain't
He's
Madden.
not
You
gonna
ain't
be able
making
to
that
see it.
throw.
No, he's not
Yeah,
gonna be able to see
you're
it.
making that throw. So yeah, I was impressed that Caleb earned some stripes that game in my eyes. Couldn't pull out the close victory like other weeks, but still a great performance. The Bears defense, on the other hand, they got Dennis Allen had they he couldn't do nothing with the 49ers. Hodges was giving him the business. CMC was giving him the business. Jawan Jennings giving the business. Persall, they like it was just all you can eat out there. Even Kendrick Bourne got him. So Sky Moore was getting involved. I mean, so that's to let you know, man. Kyle Shanahan is a heck of a coach. Surprised he's not getting a little more buzz for Coach of the Year nominations because with all these injuries, the team is still 12 wins
But,
and possibly could win the division.
I saw the
Possibly.
odds. He's at the top of the list for the odds for
Oh,
coach of the
he's the
year.
favorite. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, man, that was a good game. I enjoyed my watch that game. That was a good game.
Yeah, it
Hopefully,
was a
the
really good
next
game.
primetime games are equally as good with week 18 because, yeah, the
I agree.
NFL has been cooking with these primetime games as of late.
That 49er Seahawks game, I hope it's a really good game.
It better be.
Yeah. Okay, well, that'll do it for week 17 of the NFL season. Let's get to the final topic, and that is the salute segment. We're going to do two salute segments. We got the week 17 one, and then we got the 2025 salute segment, the year end salute segment. So, Brian, who is on the salute list for week 17?
All right, week 17 NFL salute segment, man. We're going to kick this off with a crazy performance. Derrick Henry going against the Green Bay Packers with the season on the line. 216 yards, 4 touchdowns. He also had 6 yards per carry. Second on the list, we got Drake May, New England Patriots. He just put a thrashing on the Jets. I mean, I'm talking 256 yards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns for the runner-up MVP, odds favorite. Third on the list, man. I left him off the list last week, but I couldn't deny it this week. Brock Purdy, 303 passing yards, 3 touchdowns in the air, and 2 on the ground, getting a great, huge win against the Chicago Bears, setting them up for a possibly division winning game against the Seahawks in week 18. So, hey, man, salute to Derrick Henry, Drake May, and Brock Purdy.
You heard it first. Now we got to get to the salute segment of the year. Who is making a list? Who are the top 3 performers of the year?
All right, the top 3 performers of the year 2025 of the salute segment. And I know the number one rule is if you don't win, you don't get it. But I had to make an exception for this guy again. Myles Garrett going against the New England Patriots in week 8 of the NFL 2025 season had 5 sacks. 5 sacks, people. That is insane. Second on the list, man. It wouldn't be right if we left Josh Allen off the list. Week 11 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he had 317 passing yards, 3 passing TDs, and 3 rushing TDs. That is a historic performance right there. I don't care what nobody says. And last on the list, this just happened too, which is crazy. I was looking for that final entry in the list, and I said, Derrick Henry, 216 yards, 4 touchdowns on the night against a tough Green Bay Packers team with the season on the line. Hey man, these three guys had the best performances I've seen this year. Miles Garrett, Josh Allen, Derrick Henry. Salute.
And you heard it first, ladies and gentlemen. That is the 2025 salute segment of the year. And man, what a year. What a 2025 season. When we see you guys again, it'll be 2026. It'll be the end of the regular season as we know it. And we are going to get to the playoffs. Playoffs are finally here, baby. It's going to be a crazy year because no Mahomes means we don't know who's really going to make it.
Exactly.
So let's get it, bro. Let's get it. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials, and we will see you guys on the next episode of the Courtside View podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Salute.
All